you to this Lunch and Learn. Lunch and Learn is a personal development series that is brought to you by Majesty Training Associates. Majesty Training Associates is a company, consultancy company that does personal development, business development, and organizational development so that you thrive. So as part of giving back to our clients and the people around us, we give this Lunch and Learn. It's a personal development program where we share different topics that are supposed to help us grow. Personal development is meant to make us better, something that helps us to become better people, better selves, better people. We better ourselves through personal development. So as part of this, we do Lunch and Learn every last Thursday of the month. And today is the last Thursday of this month, February, a very short month. And we are glad that we are going to talk about communication. Communication through writing, effective communication through writing. And our guest is Carol Beyanga. Yeah. So I was still introducing Carol. Carol works with Monitor Publication. Carol is an editor and a media consultant. So I don't want to waste a lot of Carol's time. Please, Carol, you can introduce yourself more and please unpackage for us what you have for us. Thank you very much. Over to you, Carol. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Francis. Thank you everyone for coming, for joining and being part of this. My name is Carol Beyanga. Like Francis said, I am an editor and media consultant. I do work with Monitor, but I now work with them as a consultant. Previously, I was an editor there. They have different roles. Worked with them for 20 years, actually. Different roles from society to features to managing editor for the paper and then for the online platforms. So I did quite a bit of work. Then I left, decided to do something different. But I still work with them because I love to edit. That's one of my key passions and roles. And so I do editing with them. So what I really do is a lot of editing, whether that's newspaper, magazines, documents for organizations. Sometimes they come up with documents, their social reports, their annual reports, books. Ugandans are writing a lot, which is nice. So I help people edit their books, look through and say, okay, will this book make sense to the reader out there? So I do a lot of editing. And then I also teach writing. I teach writing in... I have a small course that I do. I teach it. We've just actually finished the course yesterday. It's usually four sessions, so once a week. In that, I teach writing because I realize that many people struggle with writing. They have an idea, but to make it flow, to make it understandable, to capture their audience, to get what you want it to do. People tend to struggle and are not sure. So I came up with the idea. I said, why don't I teach people? So I do that for individuals. Once a quarter, I hold a class. But I also work with organizations. Some organizations come and say, can you come and do that for us in our organization? Come and teach our team because they also have a struggle. So that's what I do. I'm married to Mr. Joseph Beyanga, who is right now on a walk to Gulu in this heat to talk about road safety awareness. They are right now where they've walked up. I think they're going to get to Kafu today, I think.
They left Nakasongola this morning.
They left Nakasongola, yes, they did. So, hey, Francis, you're following. Thank you. So they are married to Joseph, Mr. Joseph Beyanga, very lovely man. And we have 2 children who are now both in boarding school. They had someone who went to S1, so the house is quiet. And we have more time to ourselves and to each other. But so that's who I am in a nutshell. So let me just quickly, we don't have that much time. I will go on to project what I want to share. Just a few slides to give us an idea of what, communicating, what is communicating through writing, what is writing and all those things. So communication can be done in various ways, right? We can communicate through speech. We can communicate through our body language. You don't even say anything. You can just see a person and you can know they're happy, they're angry, without them saying a word. And we can communicate through our writing. So today I'm going to focus on writing, how we can communicate through writing, because communicating means I want to let the other person know what I feel, what I need. I want them to understand it, appreciate it, and then act on it, whether they agree or disagree, whether they want to do what I've asked or not, whether they appreciate it or not. The idea is for them to at least understand what I'm saying and, let it make sense to them. Then they can take the action that they feel they need to take, if at all. So that's what communication is. So we can do that quite well through speaking. We can, sometimes our body language says that, but what about writing? Are we able to do that through writing? That's what we want to talk about today. So three quick things I want to just let you know, even as you try and improve your writing. If you're thinking, yes, Carol, I do write a lot, I need to improve myself, or I'm getting there, but a couple of things I would encourage you to do. One is to practice as much as possible. Keep practicing. Without practice, you imagine skill, imagine, you keep practicing. If you started swimming, you want to get better, so you keep practicing to get better. All those things. Writing, you want to get better, you want your piece of work to get better, your boss to stop complaining. Keep practicing, keep practicing. Number two, read as much as possible. The more you read, the more you know. And this also goes for writing. So the more you read about writing, how can I write? The more you read about writing, you read different books, you read magazines, the better you will get. And the more you read people's writing, the more you will see the various styles you can use, the various things you can do. You will learn more about how to write different kinds of things. And then keep searching or researching. Keep searching for different ideas, for different kinds of writing, for different kinds of, on YouTube, there's so many things nowadays, videos and things like that. Keep researching and searching so that you can, improve yourself. The only way to improve yourself in any aspect, speech, writing, running a business, is just to keep learning and, keep growing yourself. So I'd encourage you to do those three things. So now I want to ask a couple of questions. I can see we are what? We are 40. We are 45 here. Thank you all for coming. So what do you write? By the time you came here, that means you write something. Either you write at your workplace, you write quite regularly, or maybe maybe at your workplace, maybe for fun, you write a lot on social media. Maybe it's not fun, but you have to write certain things. So I want to ask, in the different places you are, whether it's your business, whether it's the workplace, whether it is maybe you're on a board of something, you're in an association, and you find you have to write, or you just love to write. What are the kind of things you write? Can some people share with me what the things they like to write?
Yes, Carol, I'm very excited to share because also I am with one of the Lunch and Learn participants here in Arua. So Faith has joined me and we are together listening to this. Yeah, I want to share that one of the things I wrote this morning was to the WhatsApp that was accompanying this flyer to remind people about this particular session.
Okay.
I'm also writing a report. I'm doing an organizational assessment here in.
Write some kind of reports. So yes, so WhatsApp messages. I can see here on the chat people are saying reports. Some of them write to express my feelings. That's Francis. Robin is saying, writing to advertise. You have to write adverts, like the quick things you want to advertise. Someone, Regina says she writes for a newsletter, so she has to write stories of impact. Comfort says she writes thoughts in her journal. Just her thoughts. Her feelings, how the day has been, the month, the year. She writes quite a bit of that. So I'm saying speeches. Many of you write something. Joy has said she writes for fun. Hopeful has said speeches. Yes, so many of us write many things. Emails to clients, very, very critical. New things. Hope is saying new things that she discovers. Incident reports. Night is saying, yeah, so thank you for sharing. So many of us write these many things. So we have seen here speeches, reports, assessments on social media for fun, the journal. That's what you're writing. Now let's ask a second question. Why are you writing those pieces? Why are you writing that report? Why are you writing in that journal? Why are you writing that? Or why are you writing that advert? Why are you writing all these things? There is writing them, but there is a reason you're writing them. Why are you writing those things? Can I have some answers to that? And feel free to put in the chat and also to speak if you'd like to speak. So Dina says it's part of her work. The emails to clients, part of her work. So that's why she has to write them. Okay, thank you, Dina. Hope says to teach others. Sometimes you're writing something to teach people, give them information to teach them. Someone, Beyonce says it's because she's communicating to her team members, so she has to write maybe emails or something like that. Communicate and make sales. Writing when they're bored, such I can put the writing, which is a good thing to do because then you're kind of trying to improve yourself. Writing minutes, very important. So now I like I like all of them, but Netza is getting to what I'm saying. We write meeting minutes for future reference to decision making and keeping records. I like that. Let's keep that. We'll see why I'm asking. It's mandatory at work. Judith says to inform, to share stories, many of the reasons you've written. So thank you for saying, for sharing all those points. So I want you to always think of one thing. Many of us say, I have to do it, it's my work, the people need to know, and that sort of thing. But remember always, you are writing for your reader. Whether you like this work or not, it is going to a reader. It is going to an audience. So you must think of that audience and say, this email is going to a client. How should it read? These minutes are being written for record keeping or for decision making. What must be in there? So that if a decision has to be made, the information is well put there. So always remember, your reader is kind of the first person you must think about before you decide to put all these things, all that report, all those information you got, that that success or that project. Remember, your reader is key, right? So let's look at that. That could be someone in some office. Maybe he's a board member and he's getting this is a board report. Maybe he's a supervisor and he's getting a report. He's going to report from his junior about the project, or he's a financial manager looking at the financial report. Could be that. So maybe you have to write to someone like that. Maybe you like to write to teach for fun, So maybe you like to write for children, other audiences, for them to enjoy themselves, to enjoy this piece of reading, to learn something, but to enjoy it, to appreciate it. Or maybe you're writing a speech, like someone said, you have a speech you have to give you. It's an event, maybe it's a work event, maybe it's a graduation. Someone was talking about graduation in the class I had yesterday. Maybe it's a wedding and you've been asked, you're the mother of the bride, you're going to give a speech, you're the friend of the groom. So you have an audience. Always think about that audience. Who's that audience? And so this is what we should do. Why we write? Why are we writing? We're not just writing because, they told us to write. If we want our writing to do a good job, remember that we're writing for a reason, not just because the email has to go, the minutes have to be put there, the project work has to be written. We are doing a number of things. One, we are informing. Sometimes we're just informing. This is what happened. This is what took place. This is what you requested to know about. Other times we're explaining. We want to explain, this is why this went wrong, or this is why we took this decision. Or this is why we have decided to put this funding at this place. Or we're writing to inspire, to argue our beliefs and opinions, or to convince. Sometimes not just information. There's information, but you want to convince someone to do something. You want to get that client to buy, that product or whatever you're selling. You want to argue out your belief and your opinion. Maybe on your social media page, you're thinking, no, people have gotten this wrong. I need to explain what it is. You want to inspire, maybe, you want to inspire a new generation. You want to inspire people to do something, even sometimes at work, at email. You might want to inspire people to do, you're an editor. For example, I'm an editor, and sometimes I work with a team, and sometimes I realize the writing they're doing is not good. So I want to inspire them to do better. How do I do it? Matters a lot, because now that is my reader. At that moment, I'm not thinking, I have to do an email, tell all these people they need to do better. I'm thinking, what can I write so that when they read it, they are inspired to do better, not feel like they have been lectured or that sort of thing. We also write because we want to get a decision made. Sometimes we want funding. We want a scholarship. We want to get support or help. Maybe you want people to get people, if you're on WhatsApp and you're asking people for money, like, guys, we need to help this person, please. Can we support them? How are you going to write it so that people can be, can feel like, let's support. Yeah, this person is in need. So that's why we write. So remember, you're writing for a reason. You're not just writing to send that thing off. You're writing to do a number of these things, even more, but these are some of the main ones. You're writing to do that. You want the person you read at the end of the day to be informed, or to be inspired, or to make that decision that you want them to make that decision. So who are you writing for? We've talked about that. You're either writing for a supervisor, you may be writing for an audience, it's a speech, or if you're a church person, maybe you're a preacher or a teacher that day. You're writing to a client an email to get them to, take up the product you want to give them. a supplier to get you something or to give you a discount, as a friend maybe who's far off and you want to give them information about what has happened, a donor, a sponsor. So many people we write for. So when you're writing for these people, you need to think of them and say, what would they want to know? What would they want to, be to see in this thing I'm writing? So first of all, picture what they want. What do they want? So sometimes they want full information. So don't give them information in bits. Sort of ask yourself, my supervisor has asked for this thing. What does he want? What does she want? And one way we can do that is we acquire knowledge about them, or we acquire knowledge about what they want. So in one of the things I've noticed is many people, when they're told, go and do this, or go and write a report, they go and write it and then come back and the supervisor is not happy or says, you don't have this, you don't have this, go back and do it. It would have saved you a lot of trouble if you had first gone and said, okay, Mr. Supervisor, Mrs. Supervisor, I am writing this thing. Is this what I should put in it? I am thinking of putting A, B, and C. Should I go ahead? Supervisor may say, I like A, I like B, I don't like C, and please add D. Now you're at a much better place. You know what they want, so you're going to go and write about that. So always try and acquire, get knowledge, get feedback from them. If you write a lot on social media, you'll see what your followers are saying, or people are commenting on your work. Do they like it? Are they agreeing with you? Even if they may not agree with you, but what are they saying about the content? Do they feel the content was well written? Do they feel you had your points together? Did they react the way you wanted them to react? So when they are giving you those comments, that's feedback. Listen to that feedback, read that feedback, and take it to use. You find ways to use it. See what has worked before. What has worked before? Are there articles that have been written? Are there, so for example, a report that has been done before that worked very well? Have you written something in the past that was exciting? Have written something in the past that was very interesting, people liked it, and now the supervisor said that was very good. Keep it up. Please always do this. Ruth Ninsima, you're on. Maybe if you could mute. Okay, I hope Ruth will mute. So yes, so see what has worked before. What has, the reports that worked before, something that worked that was good, something that the boss liked. That means that they like that thing. Therefore, I can use it again, depending, of course, on what you're doing. Sometimes you have a template. They've decided that this is a template we'll use, guys. Then stick to that template because that's what they want. So, different things. So see what has worked before for you, and sort of say, I can use this again, as long as it is okay for me to do it. And then read other successful works, read as much as possible. What report has been written that was well received? If you've seen emails that have come through and you're like, there's sometimes I receive emails where people are selling something. So I don't necessarily want what they're selling, but I like the way they've written. I'm like, hey, this person has really sold this thing. I'm not interested in, I'm not interested in IT, maybe in certain gadgets, or I'm not planning to get a loan anytime soon, but I like the way they've written it, the way they've explained themselves and what. I love it. So sometimes I keep it on the side to sort of say the next time I need to get someone to come to my class, to pay for my class, let me pick some ideas because they work very well. If I was in that field, I would have been tempted to say, let me consider buying this thing. So read, if you like to read like the journals and things like that, books, read other people who have written. And I want to ask, what have you guys, what books, please share with me. You might have read books, novels, or nonfiction. What books do you really like out there that you feel you've said that this is very nice? I like this book. I read this book recently, or I like this author. They're really good, or I like this columnist, in the paper, or there's this person who posts on social media. Their writing is so good. Can you share with me? Can you share with me some of those works you have seen? Again, feel free to write in the chat or to speak. It would be nice to hear some voices. So yes, what are some of those things you've written, you've read and you like, and you think this person writes well? I like to read what they write. It just flows, it's nice. What are some of those things? What are some of those you like to read? Anyone like to share? Okay, Fulgencia says Atomic Habits by James Clear. Comfort says Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Lose by Maxwell, John C. Maxwell. The Diary of a CEO, yes, that's a very popular book. Okay, so these are books. People like to, I've seen most of these are books. Thank you for sharing. Can we have more people sharing? What kind of things do you like to read? Worthy by Jada Pinkett. Joy, is that a book? By Jada Pinkett, is that a book? Joy, thank you. Yes, it is. First in the Mountains was a very good book by Jackie Asimwe. It was very nice. I can see many people are talking about it. Manchester Happened. Yes, that was a novel by Jennifer Makumbi. Very, very well written. That's one of my favorite Ugandan authors is Jennifer Makumbi. So I can see many.
Carol, I like reading newspapers.
So now, Angela, tell me what exactly newspaper stories or columns, and
I
tell me what.
like the East African, particularly regional matters. I like Generali Ulimwengu. I like LCA Akuze, Charles Onyangobo. Those people who give you a global perspective of life. I enjoy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Angela, for sharing. Yes. And all those three write quite, they are very diverse, they can write about anything. Sometimes you feel, that's one. An expert in everything, Obo, generally, because they all write about environment, they'll write about media, they'll write about the politics, they'll write about gender. It's very interesting how they are able to write about almost anything, and many more. Let me see. Someone in the chat, someone says, my best book is The Art of War by General Sun Tzu. Thank you, Kesh. And Dina likes to read autobiographies. Autobiographies are very nice, you get to see someone's life and what they did. Joanne, columns by Ian Ortega in Scoop in the Daily Monitor. Staying Street Smart by Mark. Stephen says. Someone else has said something. Bob, Dynamic Thinking. Bob, is that a book? Let us know if it's a book and who. So all these are good examples you've given. And let me tell you that these people who you're mentioning, I like their books. Like those people read. If you take the time to find out and say, oh, Jacqueline writes a lot. For example, Jackie Asimwe, you can see on her social media, she writes a lot. And then also on, she did that book. But people like Jackie, people like Obo, if you take the time to read about them and how they write and how they write, like the way they write, if you're able to find an interview with them, maybe someone sat with them to talk about their success in writing, you will find that they read a lot. They've not hit the pick and say, that's it, I'm a writer, I'm done. They read, they really read, they keep improving themselves, they keep reading, because when they're reading, they're getting more knowledge, they're getting more information, but they're also learning how to write better and better. So I want to encourage you that to read as much as possible, and to read for the fun of it, yes, but to read to also begin to see, this person writes in an interesting manner. What can I pick from them? I like the way they do this, and even serious writing. There are times you get reports like at work when I was still full-time staff, I would do board reports. I really liked the report of my supervisor who writes in the paper, Daniel Kalinaki, because it wasn't just your normal, we have done this, and my goodness, he would, even when it was a serious information, somehow the words he would use, the metaphors, the way he would put it, you would still find yourself enjoying the way he's written, because he knew that he has to package in a certain way, and he reads a lot. So I want to encourage you guys, read, because it will help you get even better, get more knowledge, and that sort of thing. So always remember these things. Remember, your reader is important. Understand, why am I writing? Am I writing to make a sale? I must then convince this person. Am I writing because we need funding? That means I must convince them that we need the funding. Am I writing because I'm putting a proposal forward? Then I need to write in a way that they understand where I'm coming from. Or do I need the supervisor to make a decision and say, yes, we will do this, or no? I need to write in a way that they will appreciate it. Remember that. Remember who you're writing for. The way you write to a supplier is not the way you write to Carol, who is your teammate, workmate. If you want something from Carol, hi Carol, I've been waiting for this report, please send. You want the supplier, you're going to be more professional, you're going to be, nicer in your email, you're going to explain exactly what you want, you're going to use very good words, even if, let's say, you're not happy with them, you're still going to be professional. You're not going to call them names or abuse them or use full capital letters, you're still, because it's a supplier, you want to make sure that, that they get what they did was, well, you didn't like what they did, but you still respect them. So always remember, if I'm writing for this person, I must sit in this mode. I am now in the mode of this. Therefore, I have to write this way. And try and think of what they want to see. Picture what they want, see what has worked, and all that. So now, how do we ensure, finally, now that we know who we're writing for, we know why we want to write, we know what we want to do in our writing, how do we ensure that what we're actually writing makes sense and does those things? Any piece of writing you're doing should have these three things. It should introduce itself. It should have a body, the main part. and it should have an end. Many times I see things, they have an introduction, they even have a very good body, but they don't have an end. People underestimate the end of whatever they're writing. It's important that your piece ends. It's like a movie. Have you watched those movies and it ends and you're thinking, wait, what? Did the movie end? No, I still have many questions. How come this? How come that? Why did this happen? They haven't told us this. This person came in the movie, they were there for 15 minutes. We haven't seen them again. What was their role? Have you watched a movie like that? Or a telenovela or something like that? Who has watched a movie like that? I have a few, not many. I have, where I get very disappointed with a movie. And I think, but you know, okay, it was a good movie, but because it didn't end, you know, it didn't, and an end doesn't have to sort of be happy, or it doesn't have to be, you know, those happy endings and magical endings, but it just has to be conclusive so that I can feel, okay, this is what this was about. So the same thing, our writing must end, and it must end well. So how do we do this thing? So quickly, introduction. Start well. Start whatever you're writing well, because you want to capture the attention of the person. You are writing an email, please greet. Please don't send an email and just say, FYI. Who does that? Please report yourself if you're here. You're sending something to Joanne, I know, even if you know her, even if you just put in there, FYA, for your action, Joanne, there it is, or for your information, just that. It's not nice. Greet people, just say, hello, Joanne, find attached a document you asked for, or you know, whatever it is. So, and that's when you say hello, then Joanne feels respected. She feels, you know, you've thought about her, you want to know how she is generally. And then you've given her what she asked for or what you think she needs. So a greeting for an email is useful. Sometimes you're writing, let's say you're writing, depending on what you're writing, you might want to begin with an example. Someone talked about, you know, impact stories. So you want to write about a story, you know, a place, maybe it was in Kapchora, you did something, you want to write the impact that was done, your business, that kind of thing. Start maybe with an example of a person who, you know, your project has supported and is done very well. Some woman who has been able to grow beans, you know, a particular kind of beans, she's making money, kids are going to school. Very good example. So before you begin by saying, Carol and Joanne, you know, organization deals in providing beans and they have had success. Not bad, but it's not interesting. But if you begin by saying, you know, Dina, a woman in Kapchora, is different from that, you know, Dina who was 3 years ago. At that point, she didn't have this and that. Now she can send her children to school. Her house is better built. This is because of what the project has done for her. That's captivating. So now I'm reading about Dina. Hey, Dina, you know what happened? The project, what does it do? So consider getting something that captures someone's attention. Sometimes statistics is a good thing. It's a number that's a big number. It's a big number, worrying number, or it's a very small number. I'm on a group at Monitor, and I remember someone shared the weather report of Jumani, I think 2 days ago, and I saw 41 degrees. I was like, hey, when did we get to 41? So, and they were saying, guys, we have a story. So I was pretty sure that they were going to begin with a statistic, you know, if it is the first time in Ajumani or in, I don't know, or the first time in a long time. So sometimes you'll find a statistic, very big statistic, you know, go with it because you're like, whoa, this is the highest we've been. My goodness. So someone will want to read more. Oh my goodness, what does this mean for us? And because you've captured their attention. Or in speeches, someone talked about speeches. Can you share with me the speeches? Which speeches do you like? Tell me the people who have written speeches or have read speeches, you know, at different, you know, whether people who are well known, people we not know them, but you've had their speeches and you like them. Can someone share? Can people share? What speeches have you heard of people and you thought, and why do you like them? How do they start their speeches? Those speeches you like. Barack Obama. One of his speeches are much loved. Flugencia, why do you like Barack Obama's speeches? Or can you remember something about the way he starts that you can, if you remember? No, but now, very, very good speech maker. You're right, Francis. Very, very good speech maker. And also, he writes well. He used to write a column in that paper. I think he stopped in the Sunday Monitor. Oprah Winfrey. So many people you're saying there, and they starting with a personal story. Josephine, you're right. When you start with a personal, even Oprah Winfrey, you say that's what I'm saying by an anecdote. An anecdote is like a short story. Maybe it is your personal story. Maybe it's even a fictitious story, but you know you're going with it somewhere. You're trying to use it to show something. maybe it is it's someone else's story, but it's a story. You begin with a story that captures people's attention. If you notice, when people are giving speeches and someone comes and they begin with a story or an event, if people have been talking, as soon as a person starts, the whole goes quiet. Because everyone wants to know, what's the story? We love stories. From when we were children up to now, people love stories. So starting with a story is a very good way to start your piece. So remember, it has to be powerful. You want to capture the person's attention so they can continue reading. Even a report. The report may be an executive summary, which is fine. You want to be fancy and what. But maybe that executive summary, make sure it is punchy. It has the information it needs to have. It has all that, all that in the summary as it is. It has that, the statistic you're meant to put in there, the main statistic, the main, point, so that a person can read and say, interesting. I want to know more about this. So introduction is very important. Please always keep it.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. We were here wondering that we don't like speeches from Trump, but they are very like you have to pay attention to them even when you don't like. So why is it that some people, even if their speeches are not okay, somehow they attract attention? They don't, yes.
No, so Trump, why Trump is because, one, he's different. He's different from the rest. He doesn't usually read from a written speech. He is like, he's like our president, by the way. They will read a bit of the speech, then they will go off because they want to say what they want to say. They're like, and the president, our president Museveni, it's interesting. He'll say, my people. No, I didn't want to say this. Let me tell you, then he will tell you what he wanted to say. So I think they do it because they're different. They go off the script. They don't necessarily keep with the script. Here's the thing, let me read it as it is and stick to it. They go off the script. And usually what they're saying is really either, funny, interesting, or shocking. So they use the shock element or they use the fun element. Like for the president, sometimes people like State of the Nation address. People may not like it nowadays because they feel that he's repeating himself a lot, but people will still listen. You know why? Because he likes to, he'll crack a joke here, he will say something in an interesting way. So they've now known that, that I can still capture the crowd, even if I don't stick to the script, even if they may not like what I'm saying or agree, but I can still make them listen because I go off the script and I'll say interesting things. I'll say, things they may not know I've known about, or I'll shock them with my decisions and things like that. So I think that's why Trump, in this case, is still listened to, because everyone is thinking, what is he going to say now? That sort of thing. The shock element is why I think I'm interested in listening to him.
I just want to interrupt a bit. We are running out of time, so yeah. You may have to start packaging and so that we don't there are people who are running away from lunch time. So yeah, let's be mindful of our time. Thanks.
Okay, that's fine. This is the last slide. So yes, introduction is important. Please keep to it. Then the body. The body is the core of your work. It is where you describe, this is where you pack most of the information, where you're describing, you're informing, you're convincing, all those things we said. Now, as any of you can just share in the chat, has any of you written something, you sent it to your boss, you've sent it to your supervisor, and it has come back with all these things. They've marked it, they've crossed it, they have written questions in the margins. We don't have this, where is this, all those things. I don't know if you've had, I have sometimes, and it feels very embarrassing. But one of the main reasons that happens is because you've not done a couple of things, and you've probably not done one of these things. Your body must answer these questions. What is happening? Who is affected? Where is it happening? Why do you want this thing? Why are you writing about this thing? When? The timing? How then, therefore, do we go about this thing? Now, it doesn't mean that your document should have all of these, but what I've noticed is that it should have at least between 3 and 4 of these. Either it will have the what, who, where, the what, who, and why, or it will have the how, when, and what. It will have a number of these, at least 3, between 3 and 4. But what I believe is critical is the why, is the what and the why. What are you writing? Are you writing an email? Are you writing? And why? What are you doing? Are you convincing me? Are you arguing? Are you, asking for support? It is crucial. So ensure your elements, your body has these. Finally, end well. It is important to end well. Tie up your thing, let it end well so that I can feel that I've finished, I've read, I've enjoyed it. It's a dessert, so end well. How do you do it? There are different ways. You can summarize what you've been writing about. Maybe you've been explaining, then you summarize it. You can reinforce your argument. Maybe you're asking for something. You began by asking, you laid out all the details of why you need this thing. You come back and reinforce and say, this is why we need this thing, because it will do ABCD for us. Or sometimes you provide directions for what next. You sort of say, okay, having said all these things, having realized that we made errors here and here, this is what we should do going forward. And you provide your directions. Or if it's an email, you salutations, you sign off, warm regards, kind regards, letter, yours sincerely, yours faithfully, depending on who you're writing to. You tie it up like that, and then you end after also tying up what you've been writing. If you've been writing a sponsorship thing, if you've been writing an application to a job, you introduce yourself, who you are, and then you convince them. You don't just say, I'm Carol, I'm an editor and writer, I have written for Monitor, I therefore think I can write for you. You convince them that you're the writer that they need. Display your works, display what you've done, how you've done it well, the experience you have, the skills you have, and then you finish off by reinforcing and say, I believe I'll be a good candidate for this position if given the chance. Then you end and say, yours, I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely, Carol. So that you end it like that. So if we have these things, it will make our writing much easier. So always try and remember the frame. This is a frame. Always try, whenever you write, start and say, what's my introduction? What's my body? What's my end? Once you have those three written down somewhere, it's easier for you to write whatever it is, whether it's a report or a book or an email. And then it won't feel so hard or so difficult. That's what I had to share today. I hope you've been able to pick something. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Francis, back to you, I think.
Thank you very, very, very much, Carol. Thank you. Yes, it was so interesting that the time passed and we didn't even notice. So thank you very much for that insight. And for me, practice, read, research has made it for me. We have a few questions before we wind up. If there are people who have questions, but there is something that I think we missed out. There is somebody who asked, how can people join the writing tutorials? Somebody was asking you, Carol, how do people join your writing tutorials? And then maybe if there is any other question, you can put it in the chat so that we are able to ask Carol. Yes. So Carol, as you answer, as we wait for maybe 1 minute to ask the questions, and maybe I would read them. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So there is an email. Carol's email is there in the chat.
Yes.
So you can contact.
You can just send an email. Yes, let's contact and send an email. I'll let you know when our next class is up, what it takes, what it has, what we have. Yes, thank you, Francis. They can contact me on that email address.
All right, thank you. Yeah. All right. Somebody says, thank you, Carol. Take away, keep the audience in mind. Thank you. That's Regina. Diana, thank you. Most of the thank yous, it's more of thank you. And I would also continue saying thank you to everyone who has joined. But I would want to remind everyone that, yes. You have a question?
Yes, no. I also wanted to add my voice to say thank you, and also to say that I am here with the Lunch and Learn member for Marua. So we have been listening in together, and really it has been a fantastic presentation. Thank you, Carol. I think one thing that I struggle with is sometimes people write and they lack enthusiasm. You read the right.
If you're upset, if you're happy, so the vocabulary you use, and I talk about it, that apart from just, there are words we can use to show our emotions, the words we can use to show this thing is terrible or this thing is really great. So our vocabulary really helps, the vocabulary you choose and what I call spices, the nice things, the metaphors, the idioms, they can help to fix that gap and can actually be very strong in your writing. Okay, thank you, Francis. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Carol. Frugencia is sharing upcoming events in the chat from Majesty. We have a TOT for those starting and improve your business that starts on the 6th of April. So as part of personal development and business development, you can invest in yourself so that you learn something, so that you're able to do something. We also, I think, have a info session that is coming up soon. So for those who want to register for the TLT, the registration link is there in the chat. So we have a WhatsApp platform where we share different things from Magister, personal development, called Lunch and Learn. It's the WhatsApp group. So for those who can leave their contacts so that they're added onto the group. Someone asks, what's rate for registration? Registration to the TOT of the SYB? Yes, I think Nyakato is going to share the flyer. Diana has sent a number, so she wants to be added onto the registration. I mean, to the Lunch and Learn group. And then, yes, Beatrice as well. Yes, those, add your numbers so that you're added onto the WhatsApp group of the Lunch and Learn, where we share daily quotes, insights about personal development. And every last Thursday of the month, we have a session like this. It's supposed to be for 30 minutes, but because of the interest in the topic, we have taken more time. Please continue following up on our socials of Magister. You can visit our website, Magister Training Associates, and see what Magister does. But we do personal development, organizational development, and business development services. I encourage everyone to invest in their personal development, because if you don't grow yourself, then you will remain behind. So it's always good that you grow yourself on a daily. As Carol said, keep reading, keep learning, and it's by keeping learning that we shall be better people. So thank you very much from everyone. It's 1:45. I want to say thank you for attending, and please, let's meet again at the end of March. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Have a good month of March. Thanks.